Well, the day worked out for us. I know waking up to the snow, we figured out we could play football. We figured we'd play football one way or the other, but it really turned out to be a very nice day. It was, beyond the obvious, great to recognize the 25 team and get our rings out. Getting that turnaround so today could be part celebration, but certainly part spring game was the intent back in January. So I appreciate Justin Jessup, our equipment guy, for leading that up. Spring game wise, to me it's a 15th practice. We keep score and have time, so we kind of can put the game in a situational unpredictability that the rest of spring isn't necessarily. And we'll add it to the rest of the spring. And we have a lot of guys that didn't go today. I will say that, from a health perspective, come June 1, we're going to be very healthy. That's exciting. There's been guys that have practiced a pretty substantial amount that didn't play today. And there's a lot of young guys that I think after 15 practices are in a different place. There's certainly risk involved with maybe our approach in the spring, but there's also risk involved with not going after and really allowing guys to compete and develop. So, it's good to be here on the other side, seeing and witnessing that development, but also understanding that we have a ways to go. I thought in particular the last couple scrimmages, Justin really performed well. When he performs well, it's probably going to look a little bit like today where, there's a different efficiency about that first offense than maybe any other unit. So excited about that. And I know defensively, missing pieces is kind of where we're at. But I know those pieces that are out there, a couple of some of the guys will come back. I think we feel good about the defense moving forward. And then special teams wise, I know we didn't do the complete thing, but excited to have all those guys back heading into next year. So.
How much trust do you have to have in your team and your quarterback to let him play the entire spring game and not quite live, but and how much do you think these reps can help him?
Oh, the reps that Justin's got this spring are invaluable. He didn't have spring last year. He had fall camp, but he was in a little bit different mode. Coach Sturbick working with him was a different mode. So, allowing him to go through spring and himself hopefully take it to a higher level is what we've, what our approach was going to be. And, the guys have to be able to rush, and he's got to be able to evade that. But I think our guys understand how we want to practice, and, I think it was really good work for Justin.
What do you think of the battle up front, especially the gold offensive line versus the white D line?
Yeah, I thought, I'd say maybe an edge to the O-line, but I did think we did a better job of containing the run today and then rushing the passer. Whereas last week there was a few more runs that maybe popped just in general. So that's initial impression. I think O-line wise, we're probably more put together right now with who is out there than D-line, and that's maybe reflected. Tight on the rotation piece today because both squads were being filled. That's a little bit different than how we typically play D-line. But no, I think it was a decent back and forth today.
What sort of progress have you seen out of Aiden Kaplan that's let him sort of be that guy at center so far?
Yeah, I think real consistent this spring. Consistent for snapping the football. I think consistent in his approach, his communication. And then he's gotten, I think, better with pad level. And he's not the tallest guy, but he had a tendency to want to play high and probably get tire faster. So I think just mental toughness and confidence-wise would underscore his improvement more than anything. So I think that was obviously big shoes to fill with JT, and Aiden's done a really good job, at least of making that initial progress that makes you feel like, okay, there's a pretty good shot that Aiden would be snapping the ball for us in the fall.
First two drives for the Gold was really efficient. What do you think led to that efficiency, and how locked in do you think Justin and the offense was?
Yeah, it was a combination of efficient runs, kind of methodical on the run side, and then completion percentage-wise, I would think that was at a pretty high rate, and I think we have the ability to be that. We have the ability to be a big play outfit as well, but, being able to lean on a level of efficiency and consistency is what it ultimately is the most important thing. And, Justin, again, is he's a key piece to that, knowing where to go, knowing getting the ball out of his hands quickly, and, then guys on the other end that can catch it.
How much do you think the motion helped some of that offensive success as well?
Well, it makes it harder on the defense. I think it allows for identification of the defense. And that's certainly a part of what we do pretty regularly is just change the look. We didn't, to my knowledge, hand the ball off a lot to the motion guy, but that's another piece to what we do as well. So, we've continued to, I guess, diversify our offense, and that's a credit to, year 2 for Pete and that whole crew on offense. I mean, that's a big piece compared to where we were last year too.
You would be hard-pressed to find more experienced attorneys when it comes to major felonies, sex crimes, attempted homicides, anything like that, because between Nathan and I and Megan and the rest of the attorneys in the office, we just have a ton of experience in those types of cases. And a lot of that comes from the background in prosecution. So Nathan was a prosecutor in the Marine Corps. I was a felony prosecutor down in Beaverhead County. So we did every possible felony there is. Trial experience when it comes to that. Did attempted homicide trials back in Indiana and other major felonies. What I would say to potential clients why they should reach out to us is I think we separate ourselves from the competition when it comes to communication with our clients, transparency. A lot of people get an attorney and they won't hear from them for 6 months or something like that, and that's the biggest complaint that we hear is communication with clients. And I think we separate ourselves in that way. And then as far as results, all you got to do is go to our website. I think we would put our results up against anybody here in the state when it comes to what we're able to do. And at the end of the day, justice is the goal, but there's also a lot of mitigating factors out there for people that, hey, 99% of people out there made a mistake, want to own up to it, and want to take responsibility. The 1%, that's a different conversation. But I think we're in a great position to offer a ton of services for clients.
Bobcat Nation, we're so proud to have played for Montana State.
It wouldn't be where we are today without this program.
Now it's our turn to give back. Bobcat Collective is making a real difference for current and future athletes.
Montana State gave us a foundation to pursue our NFL dreams.
Join us in building something special, because when we invest in our athletes, we invest in the future of Bobcat football. Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Join the collective today. Go Cats.
And getting that trick play with Parker throwing to Nick there, what did you just think of that play?
Creative, yeah. And we got some receivers I know that can do some things. And Parker, I hadn't seen that, but Parker was a really good baseball player, so natural to have a good throwing arm. He was just a really good football player in high school, and I know he's definitely a guy that's going to be able to make an impact next year. I don't know if it'll be throwing the football, but that was a pretty good play. And he's not afraid of the moment. I think that's something you see in that. You got one opportunity to do this. Guy's wide open. You better get the ball out there and get it caught.
Xavier Aaron's had 2 or 3 plays right in the backfield. What sort of progress have you seen out of him this spring?
He's made real good progress. X was a guy that made an impact last year. Got hurt in the early part of the playoffs. I think it was the Yale game, and then came back and played in the championship game. And we see him as a guy that's going to be a key player. Our ability to potentially play 4 linebackers is where we're at right now. And it maybe didn't happen all at once last year where they were all healthy. I think there was games where they all played, but I think the thought of that group of 4 guys, when we put Neil and Cole and Bryce and X out there, that's a pretty formidable group.
Yesterday, Caden getting that 41 jersey, what went into that decision, and what does he mean to the program overall?
Yeah, sometimes you say it's harder than other years. There's definitely more candidates, but it was pretty easy to say Caden Dollar deserved that honor. I think honoring the 41 team and that group of players through that stretch. 14 guys on the 41 team, 11 starters. That's something that, you represent a lot there. And I know it hasn't been around forever, but, I think it's very meaningful, and it's become really meaningful to our players. And while there was some candidates beyond Caden, I think all that Caden has demonstrated, hurt in high school, comes back, deserves an opportunity. We give him an opportunity, plays as a true freshman, completely unselfish, playing on special teams. Really a co-starter as a second-year guy. Gets hurt real early, is on it right away from a rehab perspective. gets hurt, I think 5 or 6 games into that next year, and he was on a trajectory that year too, but never wavered. And then even last year, getting hurt in the semifinal game, not leaving the sideline and trying to have his impact however he can, and then doing whatever he could to play in that championship game until the wheels fell off. That's what everybody else sees. I think our guys just see this no-nonsense worker that embodies everything that we want our program to be about. So, I think I saw Nolan, who wore 41, post he was going to be the best. I don't know, that could be debatable, but from 141 to the next, and we've had some really good ones, I thought that was a heck of a compliment by Nolan.
The last drive by Grant and the white team offense, so what do you think that gives them just in terms of confidence going into this offseason?
Yeah, I think that group of second team guys, I think is really, sometimes it's just the pieces. It's not the whole group. They're not as finely tuned as the one group, but when you can see some of those guys go out and make plays, I know just getting another score on the board, I hope allowed them to feel better about the day, because they were down significantly in just plays in the first half beyond the scoreboard. So it was good to see them get on board.